Hello, hey, how's it going everyone? So I'll just want to switch the scene quickly. There we go, so we're live. How's it going? My name's DrWeez. I'm from South Africa, and well, thanks for tuning into my channel. I've been a little bit absent lately, no excuses. I've been busy paying the bills, but hopefully we'll be bringing you some more content. I've had some hardware upgrades in the lab as well. We had some webcam issues, so out with the webcams. I've now got a makeshift Canon 500D, which is now bringing in the main display. So I've got a couple of battery issues there. I've ordered AC power, but it's a good makeshift camera. Look, today what we're going to have a look at quickly is, if you are familiar with my channel, recently I had the ROG DrWeez Masterclass, and Corsair was a big part of this. This year is a big part of this year's masterclasses, and what I've got on the bench today is the RM750R, the 750 watt Corsair power supply, and I've got the Vengeance DDR4 memory. I've got quite a few sticks of them, and what I want to do today is I actually want to put all of this kit that we used during the masterclass into my AMD test rig and start playing around with a little bit of the software and the linking of all the RGB and the IQ and the stuff like that. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the power supply. We're going to get the memory out. If we have a look on the test bench, I'll pull that across onto here. So if we have a look at the test bench, the equipment we've got on the test bench already is my AMD testing rig. So it is a Strix X370 motherboard. That's here. I've got a Sapphire RX 570. I've got a couple of Corsair Vengeance sticks in here at the moment, but they're not the RGB, they're just an older one, along with the H80R all-in-one cooler installed on the processor. The processor is 1700X, and then I've just got on the side here I've just got an RGB fan. So these RGB fans connect onto the Strix's RGB headers, so I can't keep those in sync, and at the same time, using the Corsair software, I can't get the onboard RGB in sync with that. So I've heard stories that there is some software out that can start tinkering with all that together, but I haven't come across it yet. I really just want to start playing with the Corsair software and seeing what that's all about. So the first thing we're going to do is get this power supply unboxed, select the number of cables, or actually this first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the old power supply out of the bench table, and what I've got here is the DMustTech bench table. We got these bench tables at MOA 2012, so I've had this one for quite a while, and I don't know if it's readily available. If you're looking for a bench table, I'd highly recommend the open bench table for its ease of use and portability. I'm using this one purely because my open bench table is in use in a different build, and I needed to have this one portable because I've got so many bloody projects on the go. I need to be able to move projects on and off all the time. So I haven't mentioned that I do stream to the 3 platforms, so you can catch me on YouTube, on Twitch, and on Facebook all at the same time. It's difficult really to try and monitor all 3 of the chats, so I do try and keep an eye on the Twitch chat, which I see is not coming up. There we go. So I've got the Twitch chat going. I sometimes try and just have a look at what's going on the Facebook page. There again, it's not really easy to really jump between all of them. And I do have a Discord channel as well that I've got up and running. The link is down below in the group chat, in the system specs. So I try and keep an eye on what's going on there. So yeah, so let's just have a go through here. I've got a comment on the chat, but why AMD no good for OC memory? Yeah, sure, AMD is really not the best platform for OC memory, but my goal here today is not to OC the memory. My goal today is really just to play with all the RGB and the IQ settings. So within the IQ you can open up a couple of, and we'll go through it on the power supply. You can go through and you can see what your consumption is and your wattage and all that sort of stuff. So it's a really valuable tool that I want to try and touch on to see if it's going to be a handy thing for people to start diagnosing when their power supply is not actually keeping up with the supply. So in other words, when you're hitting OCP and overclock protection and all that sort of stuff, you can maybe use this now as a handy way to see. So yeah, I agree with you, AMD is not the way to go if you're looking to do anything serious with memory overclocking. If I was to be wanting to do some memory overclocking, then definitely I'd be on like the Z270 or 370 platforms from Intel. But yeah, it is what it is, you know. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. I see Troutman has just said hello and commented. And yeah, okay, so I've got the power supply out. We'll go through it very quickly. In the box, it's very standard Corsair packaging. It's what you can come to expect with every power supply you purchase from them. It's really always awesome packaging. You get a bag full of cable ties and all that sort of jazz, a little Corsair badge. I was very surprised to see that these power supplies shipped with a cable. Now normally in South Africa, when you open up a power supply box, you don't get a cable. Maybe it's because these were shipped to me directly from Taiwan rather than through the local distributor. I'm not too sure, but I was very surprised to see that. Maybe they are shipping power cables again with their power supplies. Alright, so we're going to need the main ATX power. We will need one PCI Express. We're going to need the R-Link cable because we plan on using that functionality. We'll need one CPU cable. And then I'm not going to take out an SSD cable because I've actually got a converter on this. So I'm just going to take out one normal power cable and be done with it. Right, so there's this cable here, which I remember correctly is for, I'm not quite sure if I remember, oh, it's for programming of the R2C chip. Okay, so we don't need that. I just had to quickly jog my memory, it's been so long. Anyway, so the audio is fine, I hope. Just let me know on the chat if there's any problems there. The EVGA Z370 M-ATX has nice hardware but needs better BIOS. Yeah, man, you know what? I find a lot of these motherboards lately have really they fall down when it comes to BIOS development and functionality. There's one company in particular which I find has got terrible BIOSes but really such nice hardware. It's a real pity. Alright, so let's get that out of the way. So the Corsair RM750R, nice little mid-level, mid to high end, mid-range I'd say, power supply from Corsair. Really nothing to write home about. Again, the standard Corsair sort of power supply, really same sort of shell as the HX series, HXR series. I suppose it's just the components on the inside, the quality thereof or the capacity thereof is what sets them apart. You've got your classic warranty void if removed sticker, so there's no modifying of the OCP unless you plan to trash your warranty. On the back here we've got your Corsair digital link connector. Your R2C connector is the top one if I remember correctly, and you've got a fan test. The reason for the fan test button is because the fan does not spin unless it's under load. So I think what happened is a lot of consumers were giving Corsair a hard time and saying the fan's faulty, give me a new one, blah 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 blah. And what they've done now is they put a fan test button on the back of some of their power supplies, and when the customer thinks, oh, the fan's not working, you push the button, the fan spins up. Pretty straightforward stuff, right? So connecting in your connectors, really straightforward. Corsair, like other manufacturers, have gone with plugs can go in on only one place mentality, which is great. So your end user that just doesn't quite know or hasn't got the experience is still capable of doing the work, and fairly low risk at plugging something in the wrong place and pushing 5 volts through a 3 volt lane or something like that, you know what I'm saying? So that's basically that in a nutshell. Well, you know, I read something very interesting about the warranty void sticker, that somebody's doing a class action lawsuit or something like that, because in theory they're not allowed to do it, or something. I can't remember the exact details, but I was quite excited to read that. The funny thing is, depending on your relationship with the distributor, the warranty void sticker can mean close to nothing, as long as you're upfront with them about what your intentions are. But clearly the manufacturer needs to have some sort of indicator as to whether the equipment has been tampered with. You can't expect Ferrari to honor a warranty on a Ferrari if you go and you know, rebore the pistons or something like that. The same applies to a manufacturer of electronics equipment. You can't expect them to honor warranty if you're going and soldering on new components. I mean, that's just modifications from the original. So they needed to have an indicator, but I don't think it should be a warranty void if tampered with. It should be you need to tell us the bloody truth if you tamper with the thing. As we know, consumers are frickin' bastards, and nobody will ever tell the truth on anything. So yeah, I suppose you could fight it in court, or you could do something with it, but I don't have much more to say about that without getting myself into trouble, I guess. So I'm just putting in some screws here. It looks like I might have put it in the wrong way around. Just need 2 screws to secure it, and I have put it in upside down. But I want to have the fan. I want to have the fan facing upwards in this case. So I should be able to get that top one in if I lift it up. Anyway, so what else is news in my life? Well, my daughter's already 15 months old, if you can believe that. It's been a wild ride. Let's just get this one in and then have a quick check at what's going on in the chat. I see George is signed in. Nice to see you around, George. How are things going? You'll be excited to know I've got 20 kgs of nitrogen to test some 8700 Ks with, so I'll be doing that this week. I think these screws are actually the wrong size for this power supply. These are fine thread, I need coarse thread, that's probably why I'm struggling there. Okay, so I'm not going to screw them in right now. I'll do that when I'm done. So we just need to connect up everything. First things first, ATX power, feed that in through. Then I'm going to need a 12 volt CPU power, classic one to forget. Switch it on, get a 00 postcode, and you go, oh geez, okay, CPU's dead. Meanwhile, you've just forgotten the power cable. Classic mistake, make it all the time. And then we just need to give some power to this VGA. So, interesting fact, the Sapphire RX 570 8 gig 4 gig has got 2 power connectors, an 8 pin and a 6 pin. You can get away with just plugging in the 8 pin. It doesn't need both to run, even overclocked. Anyway, and then lastly I want to plug in the Corsair Link USB. Now I'm looking at the bottom here. This motherboard's only got one extra USB, so that's going to be a bit of a problem. That's going to be a bit of a problem because now I've got 2 Corsair links to plug in. So I need to find out if you can daisy chain these things at all. I've got 2 extra USB 3 plugs on this motherboard, but only 1 USB 2 plug. So this might actually be a problem moving forward for Corsair Link. If you've got multiple, I guess you're going to have to then get a I've seen one of those link hubs, which is now just an extra expense, which is a bit damn ridiculous. Okay, so for now I'm going to take out the link for the H80 because really I want to play with the power supply more than the H80. The H80 is really cool. You can check your flow meter, your flow, you can check the temperatures, and then also you can change the colors of the LED on the thing, but it's not RGB. You can change it to one color at a time. It is RGB, but you can't make it do anything fancy, if you know what I'm saying. Right, so yeah, so you got a comment here, unless you have an ASRock Z170M, in which case you get 0, even if the power is connected. That's all too true. I know that those boards, if you blink the wrong way, you want to just kill your CPU. I've seen it. Luckily, I never had the ASRock option, so I just had other boards killing my CPUs, and just leave it at that again without getting myself into too much trouble today. Right, so we need to plug in HDMI keyboard. So I recently as well in the OC lab upgraded my Stream PC's keyboard to the Galax RGB ones from 2 years ago. They're all white because it's an all white build. So that's pretty cool. Let's see if I can show you the mouse. I think it will reach. So I'm very happy about that. And today I decided, well, it's about time I put the K70 onto the test bench. So it's also full RGB. So I'm slowly but surely joining the army of RGB and upgrading the OC lab, and I changed the internal lights to be RGB, and just like really just, if you can't beat them, join them type scenario, right? First thing before we get looking at that, I've got the Corsair Vengeance DDR4 RGB. So really cool little kit of memory. Let's just change cameras, maybe we can get a better view at that. Let's check where the focus is. Okay, so yeah, really cool kit of memory. Now what I discovered about this during the RG masterclass was that RGB is on the inside here, and you can take off the cover. So if you're wanting to have more of an RGB effect with more of the lights exposed, you can take off the little covers, or even better yet, you can customize, you know, with your own color spray or whatever, and you can really make that look great. So I was quite surprised by that. I thought I broke the damn things, but meanwhile, all I'd done is take a metal cover off. So these are really cool looking memories. They would go really nicely in a white build. So for instance, my Stream PC is the white Corsair Air 540, I think it is. And everything's basically, it's a white graphic card and a white case and white mouse and keyboard. This memory would actually go really well in it, but RGB is a bit of a waste for the stream rig, considering it's underneath the desk and you don't really ever see it. Okay, so we've got the memory installed, we've got the power in, we've got everything. So let's switch on and see if the thing actually works. I haven't used this machine in a little while. Alright, so we've got a nice delay on this cam. Alright, so it's the first time I'm streaming with this camera. We had a webcam go on us and we needed to make a plan in a hurry. So that might not be ideal. We're definitely giving it a quick test. Alright, so let's switch on and power the system up, and she's going. So we'll put our RGB fan so everyone can see nice RGB. Alright, so the RGB on the fan matches the motherboard, and unfortunately we can't match the RGB on the memory to the motherboard as far as I understand it. Maybe with the ASUS software, but definitely not with the Corsair software from what I've seen so far. Like I said, I heard rumors about there being some sort of integration going on, but I haven't figured it out yet, and I haven't done a lot of research. Okay, well, I didn't plug in a mouse, so let's just get a mouse going here. So I've got mouse going, and I do suspect that we should be needing to upgrade the keyboard and the mouse's firmware, because it's been a long time since I've had this equipment running. Alright, so what we've got the K70 keyboard, we've got the RM750i, and we've got the Vengeance RGB. So it didn't pick up the mouse at all, and that might be because I need to upgrade the firmware on the mouse before the software actually picks it up. But that's pretty cool, and I don't see any needs for upgrades. So on the 750i, we can have a look at the performance. Now this is what I'm most interested in, is I want to start running some benchmarks with this on some sort of on-screen display maybe, or something to that effect, and have a look at the temperatures and then the power outage, and to see where the power supply actually starts cutting off under load. But I don't think I'll be able to get that much load up with this system. I'm going to have to rig it up to maybe the 1080 rig. So very quickly, lighting effects, very straightforward, rainbow, color shift, whatever the case might be. It's quite easy enough to configure and set up. The Galax keyboard that I've been looking at I haven't got the software for it, but by default it's got this really cool sort of just standard like blue wave that goes across it. I must actually sit down at some point and see if I can get the Corsair keyboard to do the same. It's pretty cool. That's way too busy for my liking. It'll give me a bloody epileptic issue. So let's just see what's happening on the chat. Alright, so special rainbow, lighting effects, action, spiral rainbows, way too much. So it's sort of like a wave, maybe blue. I have no idea how to do this. Isn't there like oh, they're predefined? Here we go. Rain, jeez. That is pretty cool, but it's too busy for me. Spiral rainbow color wave. There we go. That's pretty close to what the Galax has, except the keys stay illuminated while the rainbow flows. I shall leave it with that. I do like that. Now, when last I used this keyboard, you had a problem that you had to burn, or you had to program the effect into the keyboard, otherwise you would lose it every time you rebooted. I wonder if that's still true or if it's been fixed. Look, it's been a long time since I have played with RGB on any of these things, so we'll just leave it at that. It's not what I want to do today. So if we have a look at the memory, lighting effects, rainbow, yeah, rainbow's fine. What I'd like to really see is this synced up with the ASUS software. So if we give that a close and open up the ASUS software. So more hellos on the chat there. How's it going? Thanks for tuning in. So aura sync, breathing, static wave. Here again it picks up motherboard and DRAM. So I wonder if it would, let's just have a look. Do you want to save the changes? Yes. I wonder if it would link up to the DRAM. Let's have a try. Let's go static and make it pink. Apply. Alright, so we got, oh shit, I'm standing on stuff on the floor here, excuse me. Alright, so that's pretty cool. The DRAM has synced up to your motherboard, to your fan. What's left is the color on there. RGB wouldn't matter really. So the Corsair RGB would only really be a problem for your keyboard and your mouse, which is external. So okay, although now I see that the memory's gone off. Anyway, I need to play with this some more before I make too much of an ass of myself. any more than I already have, I should say. Alright, so what is next? Let's go ahead and open up the IQ utility again, and I want to have a look at the power supply graphing. In fact, isn't there I can open up a thing here. Here we go, show Q space. Alright. So in the Q space, I have to add the power supply, and let's just add, I don't know what the keyboard would do, and we'll leave that open. Okay, so I'm pretty sure when I run the benchmark it'll take over this full screen, but it will give us a good indication of what's happening there. And let's run R15 because we can run that in window. And what we want to look at now is the temperature and the power wattage. Okay, power wattage has gone up to 150 watts, and temperature should be staying fairly stable. So I do like that. I like it quite a lot. In the old days we never used to have anything like that. So essentially what you could do is when you are busy pre-testing cards or pre-testing processors, or mostly video cards, especially in a multi-card environment or under an extreme user case where you're really pushing it under nitrogen, is have the software open so that you can see what your power consumption is. You got to start knowing that when you get to 95% of your power for the power supply, you need to start thinking about adding a second power supply. Even 95% might be too much. You're leaving very little headroom for your OCPs and all that sort of stuff. So it's a valuable tool in that you can now start looking at what your actual wattages are, but at the same time it's going to bring your score lower if you're running it during your major benchmarks. So what you want to do is maybe have 2 sessions where you have the software open and you're busy doing your pre-testing, checking out the power consumption, stuff like that, and then just hit a second session without the software open so it doesn't affect your score. You'd be amazed at how much underrating your power to the system affects your overall performance. It's really quite a big thing to make sure you don't get wrong. And guys, I think that's for me today, is what I really wanted to have a look at, is I wanted to check out how the software fits together and what's happening with it. I need to do a lot more reading up about this type of consumer level stuff. Really, as a guy that likes to do a lot of nitrogen and extreme stuff, we kind of get left behind on a lot of the consumer type products that are quite useful for day-to-day type work. So before we close this, I do have XMR, yes I do. So let's have a look at what the power consumption is if we're running sort of XMR stack. So what this will do now is this is going to pump the processor and it's going to pump the video card. Oh shit, I need network, so excuse my language. So it's going to pump the usage, and then from that we should get a good reading on. Let's plug some networks in here and let's try again. There we go. So I should have brought some water into the lab. Yeah, sorry, I need to, I really do apologize. Potty mouth. Let's start that again. Alright, so this has just got a little bit of ETN mining going. What I was doing with this is I was trying to test the load intensity between the different algorithms from Kryptonite Heavy and Kryptonite Light on CPU, on AMD CPU. It's trying to be a little bit of a dynamic test, but so nothing spectacular as far as overclocking. It's all stock standard. The idea here is now to have a look at the power, because a lot of people in sort of that have an interest in doing alternate currency mining don't quite grasp the idea behind power consumption at the wall. It's a very different scenario. So what we can do now is I can see the power out is 196 watts. I do have a power meter. I don't know if you can see it. Let's just have a look. Okay, so if you have a look here, okay, I can get down here. So down here, and just too short. There, okay, there you can see I've got my power meter down to this adapter here. So what I've been measuring what the draw is of the 6 1080 Ti's, as well as the industrial water cooler that I built and the pump. So that was running at 1600 watts of power. Now it's currently running at 1833 watts. So that's at wall draw, at the wall draw. So that's the amount of electricity coming from Eskom. Let's make a note of that, 1833. And the power out here reports to be 196 watts, 196, or say 212 watts. I suppose I'm being an idiot here. I should have actually switched the screen. Oh wait, it was switched, sorry, my bad. So you can see that rating there, power out, is what I'm trying to now gauge of how accurate it is in comparison to what the actual draw is. So let's go and make some mathematics, and we take out the calculator, and we're going to take what it is drawing at the moment, 1842, 1842, fluctuates a little bit, and then we're going to subtract 202, is what it was there now, 1640. So if I now stop this whole rig, so if I just hit the kill switch, okay, so I just turned it off at the plug, probably not the best thing for the system. So I just switched it off at the plug, and now the meter is now reading 1635. So that's pretty much exactly what I expect it to be. And so there again, another utility is if you guys are wanting to get an accurate reflection of what your machine is actually drawing, as far as your gaming load or crypto mining or whatever the case might be, there's another application, and it is pretty accurate. On the power supply, your actual output is quite accurate to what is being drawn from the wall. So that's always pretty cool to know. Alright, so I think that's about it for today. I'm just trying to think of my schedule now. I've got a whole lot of work to do in the OC lab this week, so there's going to be a lot of streams hopefully. I've got 8700Ks to test on the Apex. I've got this memory to play with as well on the Apex or on the Intel chipset. I've also got Galax memory I haven't even looked at since GOC last year, and I really want to try and get some of this stuff done. I'm so far behind as far as my OC lab is concerned. It's getting to be quite a joke, to be honest. Yeah, and I need to figure out a solution to this camera. So I'm gonna order, I don't know if I need to order a new webcam or if I need to order a new camera of sorts, because I need to have a working solution so that we don't, like now I'm just changing the battery so that I can do my wrap up, because having a battery in a camera trying to do streaming is not ideal, because like now midstream the battery goes flat. So there we go, I'm back, and it's lots of settings. At least we can have a square. So now you can see the on-screen display is back. So looks like it doesn't save the settings if you are in an unsafe power off position. Stream your cleanup sessions of the lab. So yeah, could do that, but then I've got a problem with a bit of plumber's slots, or bending over a lot on the stream is not good for TV, I don't think. But yeah, it does look like the lag is gone, but then we've got this square box over here, which is a bit of a problem. So I'm going to try see what the settings do. Anyway guys, look, thanks for tuning in. I got done what I wanted to do today, which is having a look at getting the power supply into this build, getting the readings for the power to see how it all links up and how it all syncs up. And I'm very happy to say that it looks like it's really close to being 100% accurate to what has really been drawn at the wall, to what they report in their software. So that's pretty cool. It's always nice to see that working great. But it could be a really good tool. And some of the systems I've deployed for guys that are doing crypto mining do have the HX 1000, 1200i in them. So they are running Linux or Linux, so maybe what we should do is get Windows on there and give it a test run to see that as well. But you know, time is an essence, and that's just a quick little toy. So I want to say again, thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, hit me up on the chat, and you can direct message me on Facebook if you've got anything in particular you'd like me to have a look at or discuss. Anyway guys, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching. Until next time, happy benching. I need to power down the sound.